I'm here in Sharjah with my old long-term buddy, Steven Wilkes.
So great
Take
to see you,
two.
brother.
And so we're going to have a chance to, I'm going to ask you a few questions about your newest project. Steven, how long has it been since we've seen each other? We haven't seen each other for a while. I can't even remember.
It was probably in Nat Geo on the January conference. Probably.
No, I wasn't there. No, I know.
You weren't in last year, huh?
No, man. You know, another I think it might have been
Palm Springs, right?
No, maybe in Hollywood at the Lucy's.
Oh no!
You weren't there?
I wasn't at the Lucy's. No. I didn't
Okay,
go
well
there.
then where? No, wait a minute. Anyway, this is what we can't remember.
We can't remember anything.
I remember seeing you at a bar.
We always have fun though. We always have fun. We absolutely always have fun.
Well, it's a family.
Absolutely.
Photographers, in fact, are a family, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird thing.
It is.
I mean, we are all we compete for the same space. We
Yeah.
compete for the same jobs in a way. But maybe we're all friends because nobody else will understand us.
We have the simpatico.
We got the simpatico.
That's it.
No matter how social we look, in fact, we're all alone when we're working.
That's right. And that's a nice thing when we get together. We have this ability to share that experience. Right. Because
share the pain.
Share the pain. I mean, who else? You know, my wife doesn't want to listen to me complain anymore.
No, but I'll listen to you.
Okay,
I'll listen to you.
We can commiserate.
I get
exactly.
it. I'm here in Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates with Steven Wilkes, who's one of about 25 photographers, international photographers have been invited here. So I've got a chance to interview Steven for Burn. And Steven is a Connecticut-based photographer and internationally known for all kinds of things. His incredible commercial work, and now a very, very interesting art project called Day for Night. Steven, tell me, have I got the title of that right?
It's Day to Night.
Day to Night.
Day to
Okay.
Night.
Well, tell me about that. We're going to obviously have your pictures here, but tell me a little bit about how that evolved.
Yeah. So actually, I went to Mexico City in 1996 for Life magazine to photograph Baz Luhrmann's film Romeo and Juliet. And what ended up happening was I started to I got to the set and looked around and I was like, wow, this is square. They wanted me to create a panoramic gatefold. And so what I ended up doing was I took 250 single images and created this panoramic shape. And I had Claire Danes and Leonardo in the middle of the picture embracing as Romeo and Juliet. And as I panned my camera to the right, there was a huge mirror about 25 feet tall. And they were reflecting in the mirror. And just at that one moment, that one picture, I asked them, would you just, Claire and Leonardo, just kiss for this one picture? And then I came back to New York and I put all these images together and I was like, wow, this is so cool. I was changing time in a photograph. And that concept stayed with me for 13 years until I developed an idea where I could finally use Photoshop, this new tool, and I could create this idea of changing time in one photograph. So that's kind of how it evolved.
Where does it stand now? I mean, are you still working on it or you're done?
Oh, I'm working on it still. I've done, we've just about finished number 50, where we're doing probably about 55. I have a book coming out next year with Tashin, and so it's been very, very exciting.
What's the size? How big are those pages? It's got obviously.
It's going to be a big book.
It's going to be a big book.
Yeah. Because you know.
How heavy is that book going to be?
Well, you know, certainly, David. I think it'll be good for those people who are doing powerlifting. But no, seriously, it'll actually.
Prince has to be big. Book has to be big.
Yeah, it's going to have a large. It'll be a special art edition, and then there'll be a collector edition, and then there'll be an actual trade edition, which will be an XL book. So it'll be even the book that'll be in the trade will be quite sizable, which will be exciting too. So because as you know, my work is all about details. I'm trying to tell a narrative story within a single photograph of hundreds of moments that happen within a day, and this idea that not only is there a narrative, but the narrative is actually based on time. So when you look at my photographs, there's you can see where the morning begins, and if you follow the vector of time through my image, you actually see the shadows rotate, you see the color of light change, and you see all the things that happen through that entire day, the best moments captured. I'll shoot anywhere from like 2,000 images. I'll work anywhere from 12 to 30 hours on a photograph, taking pictures nonstop, and I create this puzzle in my mind, and basically as I see it, I'm just grabbing very specific moments. So it's the most in-depth study you could probably do in a single place, in terms of a length of time. And I think that's actually been the most rewarding experience, is the idea of looking and staring at a frame, at a place for 10, 12, 14, 15 hours. It changes your whole perception of that place.
Sure does. Now,
yeah.
let me ask you something. I mean, I kind of hate labels for myself. Now, you've done a lot of documentary work, you've done a lot of commercial work, and now you're entering into the art market. How would you identify yourself if somebody who had no idea who Steven Wilkes was said, Steven, what kind of a photographer are you? What would you say?
Well, I always said I always felt I was a generalist. In other words, I actually love shooting everything. But I think I was fortunate enough to come through the industry where, people were more specialized. And so when I came into the business, I was doing a lot of different things. And I think that that gave me a certain advantage, because I could, first of all, from an experiential standpoint, I think as you travel the world, as you know, David, shooting everything and being sort of fluid in everything, you have a more evolved language visually. And
now you say, and when you came into the business, how did you come into the business?
Well, of course, my mentor is Jay Maisel. I was very, very blessed as a young college kid to meet Jay when I was a junior in college, and I worked for him for a summer. And that was like getting, a doctorate during your summer internship.
But what you're doing now, of course, is very different from what Jay did. But you started.
I started. Listen, I learned the business from Jay, and certainly Jay's been an incredible teacher. But yeah, as you work for a great photographer, that's the one of the things that's being lost today is the idea of the apprenticeship thing, because
apprenticeship has worked for artists for centuries.
Absolutely, and that's where you really learn. You could say, oh, I'm going to be a freelancer, I'll freelance assist, and I'm going to learn how this guy lights, and I'm going to learn how that guy shoots people and all that stuff. And it sounds great, it sounds wonderful, but the truth is you never really truly understand the full depth of what it is to have a business, and all the levels that go into making a photograph. Like I said, I started commercially, but I always made time for my own work. And so that was the essence of who I was.
Is that the secret to succeeding as a professional photographer, to always have your own body of work going?
Yeah, I think that's what I always say, David, is that it feeds our soul, right? I mean, the idea that we do an assignment for somebody, well, an assignment is someone else's problem that you're solving. When you do your own work, it comes from within. And when you have that, it really speaks to who you are. And I think the more you do that, the more you grow, and eventually the more you begin to actually innovate. And your seeing defines something that other people aren't seeing. And then suddenly what I found, which was so interesting, was I found that the more personal my work was, and as I began to, people would see it and take notice of it, it actually created job opportunities based on my personal work, as opposed to me doing commercial work and getting hired because I was a commercial guy. So one can actually inform the other, but it's actually, for me, it's been the reverse of that. So the more personal I do, the generally, people see something, they go, I really want you to do one of those, that kind of a picture for this project, Right. And so, and when you have those opportunities, what it does is it just feeds you. It gives you this ability to want to work harder, want to push the boundaries further. And so it's such an important element, I think, of who we are, is this idea that you take the time. I mean, the reason we take pictures, right, is because it's part of our our DNA.
Part of who you are.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I was watching you last night, and I was like, yeah, okay. You're a photographer, man. You can't even help yourself. You can't even sit down. If there's something really incredible, you're going to take a picture of it, right? I mean, it's because it's like breathing. And I think that's the idea that people don't understand, is that it takes that kind of dedication, that kind of love of the craft, of the whole experience, to really get to a place today. You can't be shoot occasionally, go out once a week with a camera. That's not going to work. It's got to become part of your. Like Jay used to say to me, kid, he'd say, you got to eat, sleep, and breathe it. And I think that's the truth. You really do have to eat, sleep, and breathe it. You know.
All right, we're running out of time here. Let me just ask you one very important question. When are we going to be able to see this big book that we're not going to be able to lift?
Well, fall. We're slotted for fall 2017. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's when it's going to be. So please, everybody,
Well,
keep your eyes
it's
and ears
been
open.
good to
for
see
it.
you again here because
Awesome to see you,
if photographers are kind of a family. We don't see each other
Yeah.
very often.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we do, we pick up right where we left off,
It's
right?
great.
It's
Absolutely. We never miss a beat, man.
One of the beauties of the business.
Absolutely.
Great to
It's
see you
always
here in Sharjah, Steven.
Well, great to be with you, David, and to share this with your great audience. So we'll look forward to doing more.